Can I 100% Portal 2 and get a refund from Steam? In case you didn't know, Steam has a policy where if you have under 2 hours of playtime on a game, you can request a refund. So I need to get all 29 single-player achievements on a fresh copy of Portal 2 in less than 2 hours. Oh, and just to let you know, this run has the coolest and most insane glitches that I have ever done. Well, let's see if it's possible. Okay, so there's a few things we need to go over before the run actually starts. We just need to turn on show pause, which lets us see our X, Y, and Z values, as well as our viewing angles and velocity. We need to be able to see all of that for some really complex glitches later in the run. Anyway, now the run can actually start. We wake up in this weird hotel room type thing and are ordered to do random tasks to test out our controls. Then once we're done with that, we go to sleep and then wake up about 27,000 years later. Anyway, we get a courtesy call from this guy, Wheatley.
Ah! Oh, God. You look good.
Wow, thanks. Oh, Wheatley also quickly tells us how to say the word apple, also known as jumping, since we can't speak. Also, don't question my keybind, it'll make sense later. Anyway, apparently he's gonna help us get out of this place by moving the room that we've been trapped in to a docking station. But, he's not very good at it.
Test subject. And of course...
Oh, look, that's the first achievement in the game. Alright, well, the cutscenes are over. It's time for the gameplay to begin. Once the orange portal opens, we can actually head through and start the first little test. Wait. Why am I moving so quickly? Is a question that you may have. Well, the reason why my jump button is bound to scroll down is so that I can frame perfectly bunny hop around, gaining insane amounts of speed. Oh, and the mouse movement in general, that's called air strafing, which essentially just gives me bonus speed on top of what I already have. And it's also going to be very important for a couple of skips in the run, but we'll get to that later. For now, we just need to place this cube on this button and head to the next level. This next chamber is pretty easy. We just need to press these buttons to activate certain portals. That way we can place this cube on this button and leave. So, this is the level where we're supposed to find the portal gun, although it's not in its regular spot. Instead, we fall through the floor and do some ultra smooth bunny hopping over to where the portal gun is actually located. Then we can portal around to get to the exit faster than the speed of sound. Ooh, it's time for smooth jazz. This level's pretty cool. All we need to do is place this cube on this button and continue to the next room. Then we just need to grab this cube, place our portal at this exact point on the wall, and then phase the cube through the door for a cool little soft lock. Luckily, the game has been programmed to respond to the soft lock and open the door. Now, we just need to head over to the elevator and leave. Alright, cube momentum is pretty fun. All we need to do is press this button, portal stand over to this wall, and then do this cool little trick, which lets us head straight to the exit. For future starter, we do something very similar to the last level, portal standing over here and grabbing this cube like this to place it on the button. In the next room, we just launch ourselves to the other side, then walk over to here where we line ourselves up in a very specific position. That way, when we walk forwards, the button activates for one single tick and glitches, staying active permanently. Then we just launch ourselves through to the exit. Now, Secret Panel is the first test chamber in the run that involves a seam shot. We need to stand here, get to an X value of roughly -505.5, make our viewing angle on the X-axis about 169.22, and then make our angle on the Y-axis about 0.003. Then all we need to do is fire our blue portal and it'll land on the wall through the door, skipping a minute-long cutscene. Then we can just bunny hop along these catwalks, get jump scared by a turret, and then continue to the next level. So, for some reason this level starts off with Wheatley magically spawning into my hands, telling me that if we're to escape this facility, we're gonna have to go through her chamber, GLaDOS. Luckily, she's dead. Well, I mean, obviously I killed her in the last game, so that makes sense. Anyway, our goal right now is to look for an escape pod, and apparently the switch to activate one is located here. There's like 873 million switches here. How the hell am I supposed to find one that says escape pod? Well, luckily for us, Wheatley accidentally flips every single switch on the wall. Turns out that all of those switches were the only thing keeping GLaDOS dead, so now that they're all on...
Hello!
Oh, it's you.
You know her?
It's been a long time. How have you been? I've been really busy being dead. You know, after you murdered me.
You did what? Oh no! No! Oh no! No!
Okay, look, we both said a lot of things that you're going to regret. But I think we can put our differences behind us. For silence, you monster. I will say, though, that since you went to all the trouble of waking me up, you must really, really love to test. I love it too. There's just one small thing we need to take care of first.
Well, I guess we're back to testing. Forever. After falling through a seemingly endless pit, we land at the bottom of the Incinerator. This is where we threw GLaDOS's cores in the first game. We jump along these beams and notice the portal guns sitting right over there in a pile on the floor. And what we're going to do is shimmy past a trigger so that we can pick up the portal gun immediately instead of having to wait for GLaDOS to stop talking. Then we portal around the level with our brand new dual aperture science handheld portal device up until we reach here, where we airstrafe over these platforms, exit the level, and head into Chapter 2. Before we move on, I want to quickly ask you to subscribe to the channel so that I can beat my competitor, Hakita, in subs. We're still pretty far off, but we're getting there. Anyway, the first level of Chapter 2 is insanely easy. We just need to place our blue portal in the top right corner of this wall and airstrafe through an orange portal to beat the level and get another achievement. This next chamber is also pretty quick. We place our portals here and here so that we can shoot a blue portal on the floor of that platform. Then we put an orange portal under this laser cube and then put one underneath myself. For some reason, we get launched off the platform, so we just need to walk back through the orange portal and place the cube on this button, finishing the chamber. Dual lasers is very fast thanks to something called the laser switch glitch, where pressing against a door with both laser receptacles active for a single frame just lets us through the exit. Alright, Laser Over Goo has an insanely cool and surprisingly complex skip. All of that skip takes place in this little section of the level. We press this button to grab this cube, place both of our portals at the corners of these walls, crouch into the orange portal, fire a new orange portal at the top of the wall, then we angle our camera at this point and tap forwards to get into the portal. Now this part took a couple of reloads, but here's the successful attempt.
I'll give you...
Pretty cool, right? That's just a little taste of some of the insane super reportals coming later on. This next test is the first time we get to use aerial faith plates, launching ourselves over to the complete other side of the room. Oh, by the way, we grabbed this camera and put it on this button to skip straight to GLaDOS's level complete dialogue. She, for some reason, thinks this thing is a cube. Anyway, we can drop an actual cube on the button when we fly back over to the other side of the room, finishing the chamber. Now, this chamber has an achievement double whammy, both of which are also the first achievements that aren't automatically obtained by playing through the story. But before that, we need to chain a couple of faith plate launches to make our way over here. Then we push this button and press ourselves into this door, which causes it to open when the ball hits the button. We quickly make a save where the door is open and then press the button again for our first achievement, which is just for dropping a cube onto a button without touching it. Anyway, for our next achievement, we need to take this radio all the way to this secret room, which is a little nod to the original Portal game. Pretty cool, right? Anyway, we reload the save we made a little while back and head to the end of the level. This is the first and unfortunately only chamber containing the companion cube, and we have to kill 3 of them for the run. I'm sorry, guys. Anyway, we use one of the companion cubes to block this laser, which lowers this elevator. Then we portal it away so that we can get to the higher levels. Once we're at the top, we grab the cube, place our portals here, and then launch through to place it on this button. Then we just move our blue portal over to this wall and launch ourselves again. But the level is not over yet. We place a blue portal on this wall here, grab the companion cube, and launch ourselves back through our orange portal to get an achievement for saving the little guy. But, GLaDOS kills it anyway. Okay, so this chamber might be the fastest one out of all of them. We just need to portal over here and redirect this laser into this receptacle on the wall, allowing us to exit the chamber and head into Chapter 3. Alright, Ceiling Catapult is unfortunately kinda long because the skip at the very start of the level is way too hard to pull off consistently. The skip basically just involves crouching and uncrouching at the right times to skip all of GLaDOS's dialogue, so that this portable surface gets moved down early. But the timing is really tight, and that makes it very inconsistent. Although, we do luckily manage to skip GLaDOS's first line of dialogue, so we did one half of it correctly. Anyway, whilst we're waiting, we place an orange portal on this wall so that we can launch ourselves through it. Then we move the orange portal to this spot on the floor and launch ourselves back through it. Whilst mid-air, we place our blue portal here, spin around, press this button, and air strafe through the blue portal onto this platform. Then we grab the laser cube, aim it here, place a blue portal on this surface, then launch ourselves through it. All we need to do now is line up the laser with the receptacle and exit the level. Ricochet is actually a pretty fun chamber. We first need to air strafe from a launch onto this platform and grab this cube. Then we head back to the main section of the chamber and use an aerial faith plate to fly up to here and block this laser beam with the cube I got earlier. Then we place our portals here and here to gain access to the portalable surface all the way at the top of the room, where a button is located. Pressing that button drops a laser cube straight down onto the aerial faceplate, but we're gonna catch it before then. Anyway, we face our back towards the exit and then launch ourselves with the laser cube in hand. Then at the very last second before bouncing again, we drop the laser cube in front of us and use it to launch backwards. That way we can place the laser cube on this button and finish the level extremely quickly. Also, we get an achievement here for beating the level in under 70 seconds. Pretty cool. This next chamber is the first time that we get to use light bridges, using them to head around this wall and grab this cube. Then we head back through the orange portal, place it on this part of the ceiling, walk backwards and left through the blue portal to end up at this button where we can place our cube. Then we portal over to the exit door and leave the chamber, getting an achievement for simply beating it. Alright, Bridge the Gap is another chamber involving light bridges, and it's pretty easy. But before we actually enter the chamber, here's Wheatley getting attacked by a bird. Anyway, he's come back to tell us that he's trying to find an escape route for me to exit the facility. But for now, he still has to figure out how he's gonna do that. Anyway, the test? It's pretty easy. We just need to use these light bridges to bring this cube straight over to this button, which opens the door, allowing us to exit the chamber. Ooh, this is the first level in the game containing turrets.
They're the pale spherical things that are full of bullets. Oh wait, that's you in 5 seconds.
Okay, I must admit that was actually pretty good. Anyway, this level is pretty easy and just involves portaling around quickly. After beating up a couple of turrets with a cube, we can put it on this button and leave to the next chamber. Okay, laser relays is nice and short. All we need to do is use this laser cube and my portals to activate all of the laser receptacles. Although we do learn something interesting. Yesterday was my birthday, and GLaDOS is preparing some kind of belated birthday gift for me. I wonder what it is. Anyway, the next level uses a cool trick called damage boosting, where we stand here and launch ourselves through this portal using the damage dealt by this turret. Then we can grab this cube over here, place it on this button, portal over to the exit door, grab one of the turrets, and drop it on the aerial faceplate to unlock an achievement. Then we can just head over to the elevator and leave.
I'm going through the list of test subjects in cryogenic storage. I managed to find 2 with your last name, a man and a woman, so that's interesting.
For this next chamber, we're gonna continue the trend of bullying turrets, literally incinerating all of them with a laser beam. Oh, also, GLaDOS gives us a little bit of insight into what her surprise is actually going to be.
It involves meeting 2 people you haven't seen in a long time.
There's no way. She couldn't be talking about... Nah, she has to be messing with me. Anyway, we use this cube to keep the laser beam active and then redirect that laser into all of these turrets and this receptacle, allowing us to exit to the elevator. Pull the rug is very easy. We just use our portal to create a bridge here and put this cube on top of it so that it blocks the laser. Then we head over to this elevator, pull the rug, and enter into the next chapter of the game. Well, I guess this is it. We're finally going to reunite with our parents after years of being trapped in this facility.
Initiating surprise in 3, 2, 1. I made it all up.
I guess we gotta keep testing. Well, first of all, we need to portal over here to access this button, which drops laser cubes. However, these laser cubes are really annoying to catch. Damn it. What? Finally, there we go. Now, this cube goes over here and activates these receptacles, and this cube goes right here, killing this turret and activating these receptacles. Now, all we need to do is leave. Or apparently not, because Wheatley is here to give us a solid half a minute of time loss. Anyway, it's time to actually leave. Now, laser chaining is actually pretty fun. First off, we need to bunny hop over to this platform so we can grab this laser cube. That way we can place our portals here and drop this cube right in between that laser receptacle and the wall. Then we put our blue portal above these aerial faith plates and use it to fling ourselves upwards, place a portal here, and grab this laser cube when we fall back down. Now we can actually redirect the laser beam that we set up earlier into the 2 remaining receptacles. Then we can just airstrafe over to this platform, fizzle a turret for no particular reason, and leave. This chamber is another instance where laser switch glitch skips basically everything. We just need to grab this cube and shake it back and forth between these laser receptacles to eventually open the door. Also, we quickly do it again just to activate GLaDOS's dialogue. That way we don't get stuck in the elevator and lose a bunch of time. Alright, this is the level where we can finally escape GLaDOS' facility. All we need to do is run across this light bridge, and that signals to Wheatley to turn off the power in the chamber. Then he activates a new light bridge so that we can run across to these catwalks. And there's an achievement for escaping. Now, GLaDOS does try to lure me into a fake test chamber, but how stupid does she think I am? It was just for the achievement. Definitely. After loading the save I made before I fell for the trap, we continue our escape, knocking over, dodging, and deleting turrets. Oh, also here's a cool example of some more bunny hopping tech. If you hold a movement key against a wall and spam jump, then you can build up a crap ton of speed. Thanks to how fast we were moving, we completely avoided getting crushed, which is very nice. Now it's time to begin Chapter 5. Okay, so the first level of Chapter 5 is pretty boring. We just need to run across a couple of pitch black catwalks. Pretty simple. Although we do learn something interesting about Wheatley. He may have a little hint of racism towards us humans.
Ended up giving me the worst possible job, tending to all the smelly humans. Sorry about that, that just slipped out.
I'm not sure what to think about that just yet. Anyway, after portaling around the facility for a bit, we end up here, where we jump down and head to the next level. This level has another 2 achievements for me to grab, the first one being for saving this turret from being incinerated, who apparently is completely different to all the other turrets. He's peaceful and just wants to live a happy life. Anyway, we continue forwards and save this defective turret from getting thrown into the trash. The reason why is because we're going to be replacing the production line template turret with this defective one. That way, every single one of the defective turrets make their way through production. Although, before we actually place them in, we need to scan ourselves here first for an achievement. And now we can screw over GLaDOS. Then we just continue on to the end of the level. But there's still one more thing we need to do to fully screw over GLaDOS. Okay, so we're now headed straight for GLaDOS' Neurotoxin facility, and the way we're gonna mess everything up here is to place a portal on this wall, press this button to activate a laser that goes straight through the blue portal, and then use these moving platforms to cut every single neurotoxin pipe there. Although, me doing that created a massive pressure imbalance in all of the piping around the facility, so me and Wheatley get violently yoinked through this tube on the wall. Luckily, the tube is going to take us straight to GLaDOS' chamber, although Wheatley is not coming with us. Alright, this is where we're gonna find GLaDOS. It's also where we're going to take back the facility once and for all. Once we walk up a set of stairs, we portal over to this area and fall straight into GLaDOS' trap. But it's all intentional, and she has no idea. And there she is. She tries to place down a couple of turrets to kill me, but guess what? They're all defective. Then she tries to kill me with some neurotoxin, but guess what? I get Wheatley instead. Now it's time to place him in the receptacle so that we can transfer control. All we need to do is press this button to confirm it, and boom. Wheatley is now in control of the entire facility. So, I guess it's time for me to leave. We'll finally be free from this facility. Wheatley brings up the elevator for me to exit, and I jump straight on top of it. Normally I'd sit through the following cutscene where Wheatley realizes how much control he actually has over the facility and turns on us, sending us straight back down into a deeper part of the facility. But since we're not actually trapped inside the elevator, we're just gonna skip it all and jump straight down. Although, we're now falling to our deaths with our new friend, Potatoes. Yeah, her AI had to go somewhere in the transfer. Although, even if we are falling to our deaths, I do actually have long fall boots on. That way, I'm not going to take any fall damage. Potatoes, though, she's going to have to find a different way to survive this fall. Well, luckily for Potatoes, a bird caught her before she went splat on the floor. Now that we're down here, there's nothing much else we can really do besides try to find a way out. So we bunny hop and portal around this deserted facility until we get to here. Now, this is a cool little skip that's pretty annoying to pull off. We just stand on this sign, look in roughly this direction, and start spamming portals so that hopefully one of them lands on the extremely distant platform. Well, luckily we were able to pull the trick off and enter this giant room where we need to press both of these buttons at the same time to open this gigantic vault door. Where am I even going? I have absolutely no clue, but what else are we supposed to do? Once we open up the door behind the vault, we enter this place. You know where we are? We've actually managed to stumble upon the old Aperture testing facility, but it's been submerged in an ocean of toxic water. Well, I guess the only way we can get out of this place is to go up. Now, the first thing we need to do is portal over here. That way we can skip all the way to this elevator. Whilst we're heading up, we shoot a blue portal at this wall and then teleport over there once we're at the top. Now, we need to interact with these 3 doors here. It's the first part for an achievement that we're gonna get later. Anyway, now it's time for a cool little trick where we head back to the elevator shaft, stand in this blue portal, and shoot it whilst looking a little bit under this blue sign. Then all we need to do is walk forwards ourselves and we get perfectly launched to the catwalk on the other side of the room. All we need to do is walk through here, flip this switch, which is going to be important for the next level, portal straight to the elevator and exit the level. Now, this is the level where we get introduced to gels. Essentially what gels do is they modify the properties of whatever they're placed on. Blue gel repels, orange gel propels, and white gel makes a surface portalable. But for now, we're only going to be focusing on one, the blue gel. So, the first puzzle here is pretty easy. We just need to bounce across this gap and portal up to this surface, which then allows us to bounce over to here, press this button, grab this cube, place it on this button, and leave. Next, we place our blue portal on the top left corner of this wall, then place an orange portal right above this circle. We can then just bounce through the orange portal whilst crouching to air strafe onto this ledge. All we need to do now is grab this cube, place it on this button, and bounce to the elevator at the end of the level. Okay, Bomb Flings is pretty quick. We just need to portal up here and then portal into this room where we jump down and press this button, activating the Repulsion Gel dropper. Then we launch ourselves up past this Fizzler, place a blue portal on this surface, and then place an orange portal under the gel dropper. And now we can launch ourselves straight to the end of the level, gaining an achievement just for completing it. Oh, I absolutely hated Crazy Box in my practice runs because of one very specific achievement, Schrodinger's catch. You'll see why in a bit. Anyway, to start, we use this Repulsion Gel to launch ourselves onto this megaphone speaker. Then we place a portal onto this very specific pixel off in the distance to make our way over here, skipping the entire first puzzle. Then we portal up to this ledge and continue to the next room where the Crazy Box is located. Now, what you need to do normally is coat the cube in Repulsion Gel to get it out of this glass cage. But for the achievement Schrodinger's catch, we're gonna have to catch the cube before it even touches the ground once, which is very painful. However, there's a cool little trick that we can do where we place a portal under the cage and then crouch through the other portal. For some reason, that breaks the glass on the cage. Then we paint the cube with the Propulsion Gel and then immediately clean it. For the achievement, it only needs to have been painted once for it to count, even if it's just for 2 seconds. Then boom, we pick up the cube and get the achievement. Next, we place the cube on the very edge of this button, portal up to here, and launch ourselves onto this elevator. Then we just need to place a portal under the cube and the elevator takes us up to the end of the level. Now, this level actually has 3 achievements in it. You'll see what for in a bit. For now, we just need to portal over to this room where we're going to launch ourselves over here, pulling both of these switches to activate both gels in the upcoming chamber. Anyway, once we get to here, we quickly make a save and portal up into this room, where all the way in the back corner, we can get an achievement for interacting with these final 3 doors. Then we just step out onto this catwalk and immediately get an achievement, literally just for standing there. Then we reload our save and launch ourselves over to here, where we find Potatoes, getting an achievement for sticking her on my portal gun. Then we reload the save again to launch ourselves straight to the exit. This is Propulsion Intro, the first level where we're introduced to orange gel, although we're barely going to use it because we're actually going to skip the entire first room by lining ourselves up here and shooting a portal through this tiny little gap. We can head through the portal to then make our way over to this room, where an orange gel based puzzle takes place. But before we do that, we need to portal up to here for an achievement, gained for literally just looking at this painting. Now all we need to do is head back over to that puzzle and solve it, launching ourselves through to the end of the level. This level, Propulsion Flings, is nice and short thanks to a cool little skip. Alright, first we place an orange portal here, bounce up onto this pipe and line up around about here. Then we place our blue portal right in the middle of this platform, fall through it and spam scroll down to stack a crap ton of jumps, causing us to launch all the way to the exit. Oh, and we get an achievement just for completing it. Ooh, it's time for Lemonade Skip, 1 out of 2 of the absolutely insane super reportals. Not counting the one in Over Goo, that one is tame compared to the upcoming ones. After bunny hopping through the first little chunk of the level, we can portal up to here where Lemonade Skip takes place. Alright, first step, place both of my portals at the very bottom edge of these 2 walls. Then we crouch through the blue portal, pop out the orange portal, and head back through the blue portal. Now it's time to line up at a very specific Y coordinate, 944.2 something. The second decimal place doesn't matter too much. Then we shoot our blue portal at this spot on the wall so that I can see blue lines from the portal through the grey wall, and head into my settings to switch my resolution from 1440p to 1080p. I need to do this for a specific pixel alignment. We basically need the left dot of the crosshair to line up with this slightly darker spot in the wall texture, then shoot our orange portal. Now we can switch our resolution back to 1440p and aim our crosshair at around about this pixel on this tank thing. Then we walk forwards and shoot away our orange portal, but still place it pretty close to us. Now, we shoot 14 blue portals at the top wall, aim down and fire our orange portal, sending us flying up all the way to the end of the level. Pretty cool, right? Now, we quickly make a save and then jump down here. We need to actually complete the first conversion gel puzzle for an achievement, which is pretty easy. We just kind of spam our way to the solution, which is just to launch myself over to here. Then we reload the quick save we made a little while ago and jump down to this catwalk. All we need to do in the following room is use our portals to launch ourselves to the very top of this broken elevator shaft, leading to the next and final level of Chapter 7. Okay, if you thought that last skip was insane, guess what? There's another one, which to be honest, I find way harder to pull off. But before we get to that, we gotta solve this first puzzle, also known as skipping the whole thing. We portal up to here and attempt to airstrafe into a launch through this blue portal, but after failing twice, I just give up and do it the normal way. Now, what we do here is shoot an orange portal right at the very bottom of this seam in the wall and head over to this repulsion gel dropper. Then we angle our blue portal so that the gel falls onto a very specific spot on the floor, right below this pipe. Now, we need to portal over to this pipe to do a glitch called a stuck launch, where we line ourselves up at a very specific point on the pipe, then tap back and hold right, which slowly builds up a ton of velocity. Then we can just tap left and go flying. I meant go fly. Are you kidding me? I meant go flying up to the very top of the room, where we portal into this room past this grate. After airstrafing to this platform, pressing this button, which opens the giant vault on the ceiling, and giving Potatoes a good idea to take down Wheatley, we jump down to this white patch on the floor where another really cool skip takes place. First thing we do is shoot our blue portal here. Then we shoot our orange portal at this green cross with a view angle of around 150.8. Next, we shoot our blue portal at this corner on the wall, hold back and right against the corner, aim our crosshair at this exact point here and jump. Now, this part is the tricky part. We need to line our crosshair up with this corner without moving our mouse. Then we need to hold back and shoot our orange portals in this exact rhythm in these exact places. At this point, we can do the exact same thing we did during Lemonade's skip, shooting about 9 blue portals at this wall to build up our velocity so that we can launch ourselves at extreme speeds, which allows us to airstrafe over to here, skipping a very large section of the level. It was now time to confront Wheatley and take back the facility. This is Chapter 8, and it might just be the longest chapter in the run thanks to one little achievement, but we'll talk about that later. For now, we need to complete Wheatley's first ever puzzle, which is literally just to place this thing, a Franken turret, onto this button. Now we can pull out our secret weapon, paradoxes. Any AI instantly malfunctions when it's given a paradoxical situation to think about, so this was all we'd need to do to take him down.
True. I'll go true. Yeah, that was easy.
How can an AI be this stupid? Anyway, after that, Wheatley lets us through to his next little test, which is also abysmally easy. However, we're just gonna stand around and do nothing for a minute just to piss him off. Now, the test here involves placing another Franken turret onto another button. Very creative, Wheatley. Then, the next test is to drop a Franken turret onto a button. Again. Okay, yeah, this guy's a complete moron. Alright, it's time for Wheatley's first proper test, although the test isn't even his anyway. Anyway, this is the first chamber containing funnels, and these things are really glitchy, as in fly freely through the air type glitchy. However, the glitch I'm referring to, the crouch fly glitch, unfortunately isn't a viable strategy right now, despite the fact that it saves a lot of time. Now, the reason why we're not going to do this glitch is because we need to get probably the most annoying achievement in the run, which is to smash every single one of Wheatley's test chamber monitors, starting with this one. And obviously, I can't do that if I'm flying around at 2 meters per year. Anyway, we complete the test chamber like normal, grabbing the Franken turret and using the funnel to press it against this ceiling button, allowing us to leave. Now, ceiling button is pretty easy. First, we place our portals here and here to fall into a funnel. And the reason we want that extra bit of height on the funnel is so that we can move it over to this platform and fly up to here. Then we catch a Franken turret in the funnel and let it get as high as it needs so that we can launch it straight at Wheatley's monitor. Then we just bring another Franken turret up to us so we can press it against this button on the ceiling, opening the exit. The first order of action in wall button is to fling ourselves right into Wheatley. That's the third monitor so far. Anyway, whilst Wheatley slowly and painfully moves 2 separate chambers together, we set up our portals in these positions so that we can immediately get into the funnel when it activates. On the other side of the room, we press this button and shoot the funnel here to catch a Franken turret. Then we wait till the little guy gets to about here and shoot a funnel on this wall, which sends the Franken turret straight to me. All we gotta do now is move the funnel over here and launch launch ourselves into it, allowing us to get back to the other side of the chamber. Once we've made our way onto the platform in front of the exit door, we set up a funnel to go straight into the button on the wall and chuck the Franken turret up into it, opening the door leading to the exit. For this next chamber, we need to quickly grab this turret and place it in front of Wheatley's monitor. As soon as it sees his stupid little face, it opens fire. Anyway, we use the funnels to pull this Franken turret over to us, place it on this button, and then float all the way to the end of the chamber. Alright, the first step of funnel catch is to portal up to here, then we place our blue portal at this specific point above this blue dot. For some reason, that exact pixel is portalable. Anyway, we now have easy access to the Franken turret dropper button. Once we get our first Franken turret, we need to fling it into this funnel, that way we can launch it into Wheatley's monitor. However, this test chamber is special. There's actually 2 monitors we need to break. So we gotta repeat all the steps again and launch the Franken turret through here this time, breaking the second monitor. That's 6 out of 11 smashed. Then we can portal over to that weird dot again and place the second Franken turret on this button, finishing the chamber. This chamber is luckily pretty quick. The first step is to obviously obliterate another one of Wheatley's monitors. That's the 7th one so far. Then we place the light bridge over here, press this button, and grab the Franken turret mid-air. Then we place the bridge here to block the turret fire and put the Franken turret on this button, allowing us to head straight to the exit. Okay, this chamber is pretty annoying because it would normally be extremely short if we were allowed to use crouch fly glitch. However, since we don't have it, it takes about 2 whole minutes to solve this chamber. Anyway, to start, we launch ourselves over here to grab a Franken turret. We can use it to block this laser to turn off the funnel. That allows us to launch ourselves over to a laser cube. That way we can redirect the laser into not just Wheatley's monitor, that's the 8th one, but also this laser receptacle to lower this platform. Then we can use the funnel to press the Franken turret against the ceiling button, lowering the second platform. That way we can head up to the end of the chamber. Alright, it's time for laser platform. First thing we do is portal our way up here so we can put our other portal on this wall. Then we need to activate the bottommost receptacle with a laser beam, which controls the movement of the platform, and press this button to drop a laser cube onto that platform. We then jump down to the laser cube and move it back over to the starting area, where we can fry Wheatley's 9th test monitor and angle the cube on this portal so that it activates the receptacle and opens the door. Although it doesn't lead to an elevator because apparently the whole thing melted. Fantastic. Anyway, we hop into the funnel and drop down to the next chamber. Alright, for this chamber, propulsion catch, we just need to smash Wheatley's second last monitor. We're almost done. Anyway, all we need to do here is use funnels to transport this Franken turret over to this button. And then we can activate crouch fly glitch. The flying glitch I said we wouldn't be doing since it would screw up the monitor smashing achievement. All we need to do is stand in the very edge of this funnel, crouch for a couple of seconds, and then uncrouch to start levitating. Walking up this ramp gives us the exact amount of height we need to fly over to this platform where the exit is located. Oh, and look, there's an achievement for beating the chamber. Very nice. Oh boy, this next test chamber was extremely messy. The whole run literally almost ended here. Although the test itself isn't even that bad. We just need to portal over here, create a funnel on the wall, and press this button to move a bunch of repulsion gel onto this part of the platform. Then we chuck some more repulsion gel into the same funnel as before, jump up into the funnel, and then reverse its polarity so that the gel goes back through the orange portal. Next, we place our blue portal on this wall and step off this button to push the gel through the blue portal. Now, we need to drop the gel so that only 2 turrets get flung. We still need 1 to break Wheatley's final monitor. Once we do that, we use the funnel to gain some height and then launch ourselves over to the turret. And boom! There's the achievement for breaking all of Wheatley's monitors. Very epic. Okay, now it's time for the messy part. We quickly make a manual save and then start the crouch fly glitch. On our first attempt, we accidentally gained too much upwards momentum, so getting through the door would be impossible. Oh, and for some reason I decided to quick save the game right here, so reloading the game just put me back where I was. So I quit back to the main menu and loaded the manual save from before. And guess what? This time we gained too much downwards momentum. On our third attempt, however, we're successful and make our way through the door. Although I completely forgot that I wasn't supposed to keep the crouch fly glitch on, because then we get stuck in the elevator of the next level. The issue with that is that crouch fly glitch becomes permanent after entering a new level. Even if you reload a save, you'll still have it and you can't get rid of it. That is, unless you somehow make your way back to a funnel, which we luckily could. Alright, 4th attempt. We finally do what we're supposed to do, which is to quick save here when we have crouch fly glitch active, but then disable it so we can walk around normally. Now, all of that was for one single achievement that we're going to get in the next level, the first level of Chapter 9. Okay, so now that we're finally in Chapter 9, we just need to progress through it as normal and let this funnel take me all the way to Wheatley's trap, getting an achievement for just standing there. Then we just use some conversion gel to escape the trap with ease, but Wheatley begs me to come back, so we do. And then he tells us to jump into that bottomless pit, so we do. Now, that achievement was the only reason why we couldn't bring Crouchfly Glitch into this level just yet. If I had it, I wouldn't have been able to actually jump into the pit. Anyway, we reload the save we made all the way back in the last level, but keep Crouchfly Glitch active through the loading screen. And this is where some really cool glitches come into play. First step, in the starting room of Chapter 9, we run over here and jump to fly up onto this invisible ceiling. Then we air strafe through this wall and make our way all the way back over to Wheatley's trap. Except this time, we're gonna bump on this monitor to give us a little bit of downwards momentum so that we can stand on the railing of this catwalk. Although, that's a little bit too much downwards momentum, so we gotta reload the save we made like a whole minute ago. Fly back over to Wheatley's trap and do it properly this time. Amazing time loss. Okay, so now that we're on the railing, we crouch through this door and then get back onto the railing on the other side. Then we jump to fly up onto this catwalk and use this bent section to give us some downwards momentum so that we can fly over to this other catwalk. Now we gotta be careful up here because Wheatley has set up another trap that absolutely murders this poor Frankenstein. Luckily, we're fine, and we can continue on to the second part of Chapter 9. We start by crouching under this door and continue to fly forwards and around this giant obstacle. Oh, and one little thing about Crouchfly Glitch, if you have a velocity of over 300, you'll keep flying in one direction forever until you hit a wall. And that's exactly what happens here. Anyway, we're supposed to make our way over to this door and climb back onto the railing. That way, in the next room, we can line ourselves up right about here. Then perfectly fly past all the turrets and head down to this lower level. In this upcoming section, there's a crap ton of turrets that we're gonna have to avoid. The only way to do that is to trigger all of them at the same time. Wait for their lasers to bounce back to their neutral positions, then fly back out as fast as possible. But doing that is quite tricky. We fail like 4 separate times. Finally though, we get past them and can continue up to the third part of Chapter 9. Alright, the third part of Chapter 9 has some pretty cool skips involving Crouchfly Glitch. First of all, we need to portal over here and fly through this door. Then we just make our way over the stairs and place our portals here and here. We walk through the portal and continue flying until we get to here, where we face through this wall, tap on this black wire thing to get a bit of downwards momentum, and then land on this invisible floor. All we need to do now is look over here and jump forwards, setting our vertical momentum to 0 when we bonk our head on the roof. That way we can fly over to the end of this funnel and cancel the Crouchfly Glitch. Next up is the final part of Chapter 9. It's time to defeat Wheatley once and for all. We portal up here and notice a bunch of corrupt cores in a pile. Just the thing we need to take Wheatley down. We put potatoes in this receptacle and ride the elevator all the way up to Wheatley. Okay, first order of action, we stand right here in front of the conversion gel pipe so that Wheatley launches a grenade straight at it, sending blobs of it flying out all over the room. Now, this fight is timed. I only have 5 minutes to take him down before the neurotoxin kills me, so we should be able to complete the challenge. That is, if we don't make any mistakes. Now, when Wheatley launches his grenades, we can send them flying straight back into him. We're going to need to do this 2 more times if we plan to attach 3 corrupt cores to his chassis. The first core is the space core, and luckily the whole repulsion gel pipe breaks, scattering blobs of it all over the floor. Just what we need to reach the core receptacles on Wheatley's body. Now, since Wheatley is an absolute idiot, he launches grenades at me again, without even bothering to switch up his strategy. So we can send them right back at him again. Now, the second core is the adventure core, who for some reason starts to flirt with me.
You pretty lady.
Anyway, we place the second core on the receptacle and immediately bomb Wheatley for the third and final time. Then we launch ourselves up to grab the fact core, placing it on Wheatley's final open receptacle. His corruption was at 100%. All we'd need to do now is press the stalemate resolution button to go through with the corruption. To get there, we do a cool little glitch, placing a blue portal on the floor, even after the conversion gel has been cleaned up, and portal into the room that holds the stalemate resolution button. And
Who needs the stalemate button? What? Are you still alive? You are joking! You have got to be kidding me! Well, I'm still in control, and I have no idea how to fix this place. Oh! Space! Let go! We're in space! Let go! Let go! I'm still connected! I can pull myself in! I can still fix this!
I already fixed it.
And you are not coming back.
Oh no! Change your plans! Hold on to me! Tighter! Ah! Grab me! Grab me! Grab me!
And just like that, we get the final single-player achievement in the game, Lunacy. Now, did I actually beat it in under 2 hours? Just barely. I don't know how I keep managing to get this close to failing. Anyway, could this have been done faster? 100%. The only issue is that I can't just reset a run if mistakes are made. I've only got one chance. But the final question is, did I get my refund? Yes, I did.